There is a new wave in Kenya, the Babu Owino and Edwin Sifuna wave.
Zudi! Faruk! Hawa watu! Wacha niwaambie! Oburu Odinga! Yunadi Mohammed! Gladys Wanga! Salah! Asadi!
And they've taken the country by a storm.
Kwa sababu umenizoea kama uko na TLS hii ndio nafasi yako. Kama niendelee kama umetumwa na TLS nilikuwa tayari.
The question now is, what next and what is there in the game?
Oburu, tafuta SG wako. Mimi siwezi kuwa SG wa Oburu. Hiyo nataka niseme hapa mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu na mbele ya taifa zima. I will not be the SG of mediocrity after Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. You characters don't deserve me. I will say this without fear or favor.
Because for me, they must run for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya in 2027. And I personally believe that for them to achieve that, they must do two things urgently. The first thing they must do is to bring Ndindi Nyoro on board. And it's going to form the basis of this analysis why they must bring Ndindi Nyoro on board. Number two, they must also, as a matter of urgency, dissociate from Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and to some extent, Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Although I believe that this team might end up supporting Fred Okengo Matiang'i. In this video, I want to reveal to you guys why Sifuna and Babu must bring Ndindi Nyoro on board, but discard Rigathi and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Before you do that, in case you are watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. Ladies and gentlemen, the first reason why these guys must discard Rigathi and Kalonzo but bring Ndindi Nyoro is because William Ruto's new headache. William Ruto has been planning on how to defeat Kalonzo Musyoka. He's been scheming on how to defeat Rigathi Gachagua. And of late, he's been planning on how to defeat Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Enters now Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna, and Ndindi Nyoro. That's a completely new political headache for the president. And I'm sure if there's something which is giving William Ruto serious political headache, is how to deal with the Sifuna, Babu, and the young people. Because for Kalonzo, that will be breakfast for Ruto. Rigathi is already blocked. He won't run. For Matiang'i, the numbers might not be adding up fully. But this new team, they have something. Which means for William Ruto to deal with them, he must figure out the best strategy, which will mean coming up with a new strategy. And that will take William Ruto time. Remember, election is next year. Number two, and this is something I keep on saying here, politics is a game of numbers. If Edwin Sifuna becomes the presidential candidate, he's definitely going to lock the Luhya nation. If Ndindi Nyoro becomes his running mate, I'm 100% sure that the equation in Mount Kenya is also going to change drastically in his favor. So we are talking of two largest voting bloc in Kenya. That is the Kikuyu nation and the Luhya nation. And then Babu Owino now becoming the governor for Nairobi. It's automatically going to mean that they are going to control the politics of Nairobi. Babu Owino might not succeed in the Luo nation fully, but he's going to win Nairobi, and importantly, he's going to also go away with a portion of the Luo nation. And remember, Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna are appealing to the agencies. So that's another voting block they are bringing on board. Now, if they were to join Kalonzo or were to join Rigathi, a lot of things are going to change there. For example, majority of agencies might not really be persuaded to support Kalonzo if Kalonzo is going to be the presidential candidate. Again, the Luo nation will not be persuaded to support Kalonzo if he is the presidential candidate, because I don't see a situation where Sifuna, Babu, and Ndindi joins that camp in the united opposition, and then Kalonzo saying, I'm not running. Kalonzo will have to be on the ballot. So that's number two. Number three, you see there's the negative energy on Rigathi Gachagua's side, and to some extent, Stephen Kalonzo. So this camp can jump those negative energies by providing themselves as candidates. Someone like Rigathi Gachagua has a mission and objective. He has a personal issue with William Ruto. So that's going to be negative energy. Rigathi Gachagua brand of politics is resonating so well with the mountain. But what about the rest of the country? So it means these guys will make progress. Then some people will be like, kama Rigathi yako hapo, sisi hapa, hapana. So to avoid those negative energy, they must agree, and as a matter of urgency, to be on the ballot. Bring Ndindi Nyoro, because Ndindi Nyoro might not have those negative energy. That's very important. Number four, you see, there is something which is being said within the political circles, that there's need for a fresh start. Now, why should you remove Ruto and replace him with Kalonzo if you want a fresh start? Because Kalonzo haven't joined politics before Ruto. Is there any difference between Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto? There is no difference, which means for these guys to project themselves as fresh start, they must discard. They must not associate with that group. That's very important. Because for Kalonzo, it's easy for Ruto to craft a strategy against him. Just like it's easy for Ruto to craft a strategy against Matiang'i or even against Rigathi. But that cannot be said of Ndindi Nyoro. Because so far, there is nothing Ndindi Nyoro has done which, you can pin him down with. The same to Edwin Sifuna, and to some extent, even Babu Owino. Babu Owino has that DJ scandal, but it's only that. So there is this need for that. If they have to make a statement, they must discard those guys. Number five, the Rerun politics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what these guys, if they are serious, they should focus on. Rerun. Let Kalonzo run. Let Sifuna, Ndindi, and Babu also provide us a presidential candidate to face William Ruto. What's going to happen is that William Ruto is going to defeat them, but might not get the 50% plus one vote. What that would mean, therefore, is that the country will be subjected to a rerun. And because politics is a game of numbers, if you are keenly following that rule of numbers, I doubt if Kalonzo Musyoka can defeat, based on numbers, a combined team of Ndindi Nyoro, Babu Owino, and Edwin Sifuna. Because Edwin Sifuna will come with the lower votes, because the Luya will fully vote for him if he's a presidential candidate. Ndindi Nyoro will bring a portion of the mountain which Kalonzo is hoping for. Then now, Beijing sees. So they'll definitely become number 2, which will force a rerun. Now, during that rerun is where now these guys can win the presidency. Because during rerun, the opposition might now decide, okay, we've managed to stop this guy from winning first round. Now let us face him in the second round. So Kalonzo, Rigathi, and the rest now can join and push for their candidature. So for me, that's important. Even if they become number 3, and then there is a rerun, then they can now negotiate with either Kalonzo or with William Ruto based on where the bread is buttered. And lastly, you see, politics is about negotiations. There is already a crowd in the united opposition. And you can clearly tell Makwiny wants to become the president. Kalonzo wants to become the president. Eugene Wamalwa is also positioning himself as a potential running mate. So which means if they were to join this team, they are going to face serious demands from Kalonzo. For example, Kalonzo will say, I'm running for the presidency. Rigathi will insist Nairobi must be a Kikuyu governor. Yeah? Makwiny will insist, I'm running for the presidency. So Sifuna will be told, we want to make you the speaker of the Senate, which means you must go back and run as the senator for Nairobi. Babu will go back to Embakasi East. So for them to avoid those unnecessary demands, in my view, they must discard that camp and focus. But importantly, singing one term is not enough to remove William Ruto from office. William Ruto is not a joke, my friends. That's a man who defeated Raila and Uhuru. Combined, Uhuru was the president, Raila had the numbers. He's serving his first term. You can say they were rigging, but if they were rigging, then what will stop him from doing that? So they must be very, very careful and strategic. Otherwise, if they mess up, Babu Owino will be sent into political oblivion. Sifuna will be sent into political oblivion. Ndindi Nyoro will be sent into political oblivion. So for them to secure their political future, I strongly believe that they must be on the ballot, so that even if they lose, then they still have a future. Until next time, Makwiny, bye-bye.